Lesson 4. Admitting to mistakes is admitting to weakness. It's not weak. Nothing weak about this. His hands shake, trying to smooth down rumpled pages. Everything's shaking about him, actually. Legs trembling like they're about to give out. Breath catching and tripping in his lungs. Can't stop seeing fists swinging at you, going to hit you again. Sharp crack to your jaw, crowding you back. Mirror shards under your palm. Enslaved my people. You fucking killed her, she screams. Color high on his face. Eyes livid. You think you love him. He hates you. He hates you. He hates you. He hates you. You still have that blaster he gave you. Just go back and get it. Resha sighs from behind him, claws trailing across his shoulders, and Ranboo shudders. Looks behind him and sees nothing but an empty, mossy clearing. Jumps, hearing her voice right at his other ear. Bet that barrel would fit real well under your jaw. All it takes is one finger, just like one more step. Something easy, you can do it. I have to return the book first. Ranboo stresses. Doesn't miss that he said first. And neither does Resha, purring lowly as she ghosts past. Good boy. Know your worth. Know your place. Trash. Not worth anything. We never wanted you. No one ever has. Even your Cariad doesn't want you. Supposed to be the only one for you, but he hates you. The thought sends him to his knees. Codex falling out of limp hands as Ranboo buries frantic claws in squishy moss. Flinching when he hears off to his left. Pathetic. Always told you you were unwanted, and now even the person that's supposed to love you unconditionally can't stand you. What a waste of space, of breath, of life. You don't deserve to exist. Shut up. Ranboo begs, body heaving like he's going to throw up. But there's nothing in his system. There's nothing in him. Empty thing, little shadow on the wall. Nothing's ever been there, and nothing ever will. What's the point of hanging on? Just let go, just jump. And he clutches a hand to his head, howling. Shut up! Leave me alone! Weak. Maliri barks, and Ranboo sinks lower, burning forehead meeting the cool, dewy ground. You've always been weak. Buckle at the slightest pressures. There was never any hope for you. You always would have been a failure. Wishes he could keep going. Slip headfirst into the midnight sand seas and never come back out. Go ahead, kill yourself. Do you know how they'll remember you? As the biggest disappointment, the greatest failure. That is, if they even bother to remember you at all. Stop it! Ranboo pleads, with tears warping his voice. But they don't care. Crowd closer and press their freezing hands into his back, forcing him lower, forcing him to submit. Give in. What's the point? Go grab that blaster, fit it under your chin, depress that trigger, depress that syringe. It'll take you to the floor permanently this time. Give in. Melt away into the shadows down here. Melt away into nothing. Never mattered. Never will. Give in. He hates you. Your Cariad, and he hates you. Why were you ever surprised? Why did you ever think he'd love you? Turbines whir loudly above him, and Ranboo whips his head up, heart beating high in his throat as he scrambles to his feet, fumbling the codex from the ground as the Aurelian ship lands in a gust of wind. Through the fizzing, sandy static that clouds his mind, he has the half-coherent thought that this ship is ugly as sin. All shoddily patched together, silhouette hulking and clunky, nothing like. Graceful sweep of wings and fiery red lines swooping around turbines, match the stripes on his jacket. Elegant curve of his own wings, reflection of him, fast, dangerous, beautiful. You think you love him. Well, isn't this a surprise? A jovial voice shouts, and blinking back to reality, Ranboo straightens up, seeing the person striding down the ship's cargo ramp. Yellow eyes a little too smug in a scarred face. Purple hair like a mane flowing down past their shoulders. Aurelian, insurrectionist, scum, Lower life form, uncivilized, shut up! Didn't think old Bumblebrain would let you get out of his sights. The Aurelian says, grins and flashes a ferocious set of canines that makes Ranboo a little self-conscious over his own. But that concern is soon out of his head when the other drawls. So, what you doing out here on your own, fancy boy? Where's Worker-bee? Don't call him that. Don't call him that. He's smarter, better, more capable than you'll ever be. Claws flexing into the book cover around the trigger of a blaster. Don't call him that! But through the seething haze, the rest of what they said trickles through. There's something to their tone. Makes all his hackles rise. And Ranboo knows a threat when he hears one. Hopes he does an adequate job smothering his nerves as he holds the codex out. Happy, at least, his arm doesn't shake. He's busy. And I told you, I wanted to return this. And Ranboo's still not sure how to apologize, really. Is finding it hard to stomach saying anything of the sort to this cretin. But then he's thinking about angry, disappointed eyes. Spoiled brat. Can't have everything you want. Manages to get out. I should not have taken it. In his head, it goes something like this. The Aurelian takes the codex and accepts Ranboo's apology. Leave him to his business, and then when Tubbo comes back later, sees Ranboo fixed it. He can behave. He knows how to behave. He can be good. Please just look at me. Please, ancients, please, know how to behave. He'll forgive him, and will maybe, possibly, let Ranboo dance with him again. But this time, Ranboo's going to tell him, only one for me, love you. Could you love me too? But in reality, it goes something a little more like this. The Aurelian laughs. Straight up tips their head back and laughs. Ranboo's so caught off guard, he doesn't notice the others strolling out of the ship at first. Blasters drawn as they flank their comrade. Barrels coming up to point at his chest when he reflexively steps back. Sharp grins all saying the same thing. Nuh-uh, not so fast. Oh, man! That's cute! You're cute, Chickoni. Yellow Eyes laughs again. Acts like they're wiping something from under their eyes, but then the smile is gone. Face deadly, with dark, seething anger as they level their blaster right at Ranboo's head. Hands up. And if you even think about teleporting, I'll blow a hole in that stupid long face of yours. Ranboo does think about teleporting, but doesn't. And it's more shock than anything that has him raising his hands shyly. Moronic, naive thought that if he complies, he'll be okay. Yellow Eyes jerks their head, and one of the others comes forward, blaster slipping back into their holster. And Ranboo eyes him warily as he circles past, red eyes narrowing in something like vicious glee. There's an unexpected driving pain in the backs of his knees then. Sends him stumbling, but Ranboo manages to keep his footing. It's only for a second, though, and he cries out as a sharp force slams into his lower back, knocks him to his knees, instinctually twists to look behind him but fingers fist hard in his hair, force his head back around. Hey, eyes forward, Chickoni, Yellow Eyes says, snapping their fingers right in his face while they hand over a bundle of thin, dark objects to the Aurelian behind Ranboo. And the reality of the situation really only sinks in when his arms are yanked back, wrists bound tightly with the plastic ties. Always warned you this could happen, you stupid boy. But you never listen, and now, look, you've walked right into it. Maliri sneers, edges of her dress barely visible around Yellow Eyes, and Ranboo's too terrified to argue with her. Pulse thundering loud in his ears, drowning out all the ambient noise around him. They're saying something to him, but he can't parse it. Stares up at Yellow Eyes stupidly, frozen in place, frozen in fear. Know what happens. Dark, dingy rooms, bodies never found if the money never shows. Teleport now! Can't think, can't find coordinates, can't focus, can't make the pearl freeze, can't help. Ranboo's head snaps to the side harshly, fiery pain blooming across his cheek as he rolls his head back up. Feels like he swallows his tongue coming face to face with the dark, bottomless barrel of a blaster. Can't look away from it, as an irritated voice huffs. I said, get up. It's pathetic how quickly he staggers to his feet. Can't find his balance at first, and tips to the side. Face flushing in shame as the Aurelians all just laugh at him, talk amongst themselves in the sharp, fast speech of their planet. Turn to leer at Ranboo, and his ears flick back uncomfortably. A blaster rams into his back once he's on his feet. Move. And Ranboo squares his shaking shoulders and tips his chin up. Strides forwards with more confidence than he feels, but his footsteps clanging up the ship's ramp sound like bell towers ringing in mourning. Do you require the comm line number for Voidfall? Ranboo asks in his most detached voice, claws twisting to pick at the tender skin over his wrists, nervously scratching until it hurts. I have my father's personal line, as well as the head of security. Is there one you'd prefer? Or both, perhaps? Their laughter echoes loud and ugly in the empty cargo bay. Sounds like the wailing of wind up on the parapets. And shivers break out across his body, tongue dead and useless in his mouth as Yellow Eyes comes forwards. Nothing Ranboo can do to stop them from grabbing his chin, hauling him down so they're at eye level. What's the rush, Chickoni? Yellow purrs, livid, furious, seething anger in their eyes. Empire almost wiped them out. Imperial dog, your horrible planet, terrible people. Absolute terror igniting in Ranboo's veins like the rumble of engines kicking on, seeing that look. The promise of violent retribution. I think we're gonna have some fun first. You try to be strong. You don't think you manage. Tommy Innit, 1954. Holy shit, did you get him to fucking shower? How? Literally how? 2002. The secret is refusing to cuddle with him on the grounds he smells like weak old grubby mechanic. He was out of our room before I'd finished talking. 2013. What the fuck? Are you being serious or not right now? Please, Ranboo, I have to know. This is such good blackmail material, creators. Yes? We're both pretty physically affectionate, so withholding that was a good motivator. No shit. Is that a problem? No, not at all. Just strange. Tubbs never been like that with me or like anyone. Just strange is all, boss man. Well, yeah, he wouldn't be like that with you. No offense. I mean, it makes sense considering. Considering what? You've got quite the aim, kid. Ranboo jumps where he is in line, handheld flipping around between his hands before he manages to catch it for good. Turns sheepish eyes to the figure standing next to him, and ekes out, thanks? One of Techno's brows is cocked in amusement, arms loosely folded across his chest as he shrugs, hair in a long plait down his back. No need to thank me. It's just the facts. Phil's been bugging me about it for weeks. Thought I'd finally go and try my hand, but ancestors. You don't mess around, huh? I'm good at running the calculations. Like, it's simple math, honestly. Ranboo explains quickly. A little caught off guard talking to the Technoblade. Blood god, scourge of 17 systems. In the middle of the cafeteria, like this is a thing he does every day. You do math in your head while you're in the middle of shooting? Techno questions, eyebrows arching high on his forehead. And it's so hard reading him. Ranboo can never tell if the crime lord is upset or dissatisfied. Fumbles his handheld again and tucks it away before he can drop the stupid thing. Yes? Is that, I mean, if that's, not okay, then, kid, that's honestly amazing. And frankly, a little alarming. You've got to be one of the smartest people I've ever met, no lie. Techno says, still in the deadpan that unfairly reminds Ranboo of strong set to his shoulders, won't look at you, never looks at you. But unlike him, Techno's eyes are red and warm and fixate on him with something like pride. You're real impressive, Ranboo. Ranboo's glad he put his hand held up, because with the way his body goes slack, he would have dropped it on the floor, no hesitation. Probably would have cracked the screen or something with his luck. Quite the aim. Honestly amazing. Smartest person he's ever met. Real impressive. Looks at you like you're worth something. Slants down through his mind like sun rays and warms Ranboo up from the inside out. He hasn't spoken to Techno much. Why would he? He's nobody here. That's a good thing. Tired of being somebody. And it honestly makes him really nervous. Feels like he's standing before the entire court again. One wrong move away from utter annihilation. It's not a rational fear. Techno has never done or said anything to warrant this reaction. Actually gives Ranboo a lot of space. But it's an ingrained thing, hammered into him from the time he could walk. Know your place in line. Only speak when spoken to. Hands behind your back. Heels clicked together, chin up, mouth shut. Behave. You know how to behave. Sharp crack of a riding crop if he ever slipped up. If he relaxed his shoulders or grinned with his fangs bared. Bred apprehension and paranoia around anyone that carried the mantle of authority. So it's extra gratifying, extra exhilarating, everything he's ever wanted to hear. You did good. You did great. Exceeded expectations. Proud of you. Worth something. To hear Techno offer such simple praises in his even monotone. Eyes crinkling at the corners while he grins a crooked half-smile. And it's not the same. It's not exactly right. Wrong setting, wrong face, wrong voice. Does it matter? Does it matter, though? But it kind of feels like Ranboo's been waiting his whole life to hear those words. Thank you, sir. Ranboo hushes. Feet twisting together bashfully. Has to fight the urge to bow to Techno like he was taught. But he owes so much to this man. Took you in, no questions. Has sheltered you since. Spent days looking for you, brought you both home. Large palm on your shaking shoulder. You're okay, kid. Does at least cut an informal bow. I'm not sure I ever thanked you properly for rescuing us. Please know you have the deepest gratitude from the very depths of my heart. And if there's anything I can do to repay that, please don't hesitate. There's the soft scuff of boots, wave of something warm and slightly spicy, like cinnabar, gunpowder, and swirling embers. And a hand claps him lightly on the arm, settling into something more sure when Ranboo leans into the contact. Hey, it's not like that here. You don't owe me anything. I helped because I wanted to. Because I'm supposed to. I said I got your back, and I mean it. Peeking up through his bangs, Ranboo sees Techno smiling at him. Somehow one of the gentlest things, despite the tusks and scars. Look, you guys, the syndicate, everyone here, you're all like my family. I'd do anything for you. So, if there's anything you need, don't hesitate, okay? Okay. Ranboo agrees, shakily. Still a little lost with the grounding palm on his shoulder. Caring red eyes that stay fixed on his face, that see him. Proud of you. He's proud of you, has your back, watches your six, protects you. And with a hearty pat, Techno pulls away. I gotta run, kid. Sorry. Phil wanted me to grab dinner on my way back, but hit me up next time you're going to the range. Yeah, sure, okay. Ranboo mumbles, dazed. Somehow manages to scrape together enough sense to wave goodbye to the Technoblade on his way out. Shuffles back into line for the replicator, and wonders when his life got so strange. If you'd told him a year ago he'd be casually having a conversation about his shooting skills with one of the most wanted criminals in the entire empire, Ranboo would have laughed until he passed out. And then if you'd told him a few months ago that Technoblade, one of the best shots in the galaxy, wanted to go shooting with him, Ranboo underscore, he would have thought you were crazier than he is. Not crazy. Part of his mind snaps, and Ranboo rolls his eyes affectionately. Imagines booping the glowering memory of Tubbo on the nose. Maybe a little, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. And he means it. Likes to think he's been gentler with himself recently. Ranboo pays out small compliments when he does something he's proud of. Lets himself feel pride in the first place. Like the excited shivers that run up his spine when he fixes something and it works. Or being on his own somewhere in the base and not flinching when someone strikes up a conversation. Or when he's able to coax Tubbo back into the semblance of living a normal life. That last one has been the thing he's been most proud of recently. Can't stop the way he bounces down the halls with Tubbo shuffling his feet at his side, right arms shyly curling around Ranboo's left. And it's a slow process, but more nights than not, Tubbo will let Ranboo lead him out of the repair bay hand in hand. Today's been an especially good day. Tubbo suggested they do something of his own accord, hesitantly asking if Ranboo wanted to watch a movie with him. And Ranboo's tail poofed at the thought, knew that meant the dim, soothing quiet of their room, and warm hands threaded through his. Agreed so fast and so jumbled, it made Tubbo giggle uncontrollably. And since it was a good day, scarred hand in yours, fingers laced together, doesn't flinch when you touch his shoulders. Ranboo decided to push his luck. Jokingly complained and whined about unwashed engine oil smell until Tubbo caved. Left their room with his shower stuff and fingers plugging his ears, making nonsense noises to drown Ranboo out. It almost felt like the first time when Tubbo climbed into bed later, settled searing hot but so achingly familiar in Ranboo's arms, like he'd always belonged there. He put on something silly and easy that neither of them really paid attention to. Ranboo too lost in braiding Tubbo's hair, claws raking along his scalp until he buzzed contentedly. And Tubbo too enamored tracing the discolored patches on Ranboo's hands when he was done. In between one hijinks-filled scene and another, Ranboo must have drifted off, lost somewhere in that hazy, half-awake, desperately trying to keep your head up kind of sleep that leaves him super groggy and confused when the credits start rolling. It's only then that Ranboo realized they'd dozed through another movie. Tried propping himself up, but he had an entire dead weight of sleepy, angry bee plastered into his front that did not want to move. Bo, we need dinner, it's late. Ranboo tried reasoning. He shouldn't have tried reasoning. Carted through soft, clean curls and grinned at the whiny noises Tubbo made. Come on, up. We need to eat. Look, I'll go get the food, and it'll give you a chance to call Tommy. I know you've been meaning to. No. Tubbo groaned, twisting his face further into Ranboo's chest, antenna flipped up and tickling the underside of his chin. I'm tired, and he's loud. He sure is, but no excuses. You care for him, and he cares for you, so stop avoiding him. Plus, it'll wake you up, Ranboo said chipperly. Finally wiggled free and laughed when Tubbo limply face-planted into the mattress, whining high-pitched and annoying the entire time Ranboo got ready to leave. And that's how Ranboo left him, door swishing shut on the wheezing noises that were going a little out of breath. But he assumes Tubbo did end up calling Tommy, if the amazed text he got about a presentable-looking Tubbo are anything to go by. Good job. You did that. You helped. You're a good friend, a good partner, a good husband. He thinks, with a proud sweep of his tail. Steps up to the replicator when it's his turn, and punches in both their usual dinner orders. Clicks the lids over the reusable containers and tucks them away in his bag once it's done. Ranboo fills up their water bottles as well. Yellow one for him, flat metallic gray plastered in stickers for Tubbo. Snags a canned fruit drink Tubbo likes and is on his way back as quickly as he can. Doesn't want their food to get cold. It's kind of a weird turn their lives have gone. Time really slowing down while they've been on medical leave. Not much to do besides putter around HQ and help out where they can. Things have been quiet lately, which isn't a bad thing. They both needed a break from the high-speed adrenaline of their jobs. But Tubbo's arm is almost ready to be out of his cast, and Ranboo knows he's got a little bit of cabin fever. Have to remind him to take it slow. Ease back into things. But with a fond snort, Ranboo rolls his eyes because Tubbo and take it slow are not really synonymous. Ranboo's in the middle of thinking up good arguments to use against him, and gentle threats when that inevitably fails. No cuddles, no hand-holding won't trace over your wings. When he baps his ID at their door to open it, catches the unmistakable and loud voice of Tommy calling Tinny out of speakers. Do something. Can't just keep letting the poor fucker think you— Shit, I gotta go! Tubbo spits out too fast, fumbles sloppily, trying to hang up as Ranboo steps in. And his tail curls behind his legs. Can tell he's walked in on something he probably shouldn't have. Sets the bag down in a now ringing silence. Hey, do you need me to come back later, or— Ranboo hedges. More than willing to provide Tubbo with all the privacy he needs. And he might need to, given the way Tubbo immediately starts rambling. Huh? What? No! Nope. Everything is, just great still, boss man. Yep. Okay. Ranboo squints at him, confused. And there's something not quite right about him, but Ranboo's having a hard time putting a finger on it. Is it the jittery way he's waving his hands around? Wings flickering in agitation? Nervous? Scared? Something with Tommy then? Maybe his warrants? No, safe here. Why isn't he looking at you? Why won't he look at you? Why is— And his train of thought comes screeching to a halt, registering what looks off about Tubbo and the entire unbound floof of his hair. His braid is gone. And that's— It's fine. It was probably pulling at his hair weird, sloppily done. Laying half on each other in bed, it's fine. It's okay. Overreacting, just calm down. Think rationally, don't spiral. Ranboo takes a calming breath and clicks his tongue. Knew he should have grabbed the comb and not just done it with his claws. Starts pulling his boots off as he says, Hey, if your braid was bothering you, you should have said something. I would have redone it better before I left. The laugh that wheezes out has Ranboo snapping his head up. One shoe on, the other off. Stares at Tubbo in concern. And he's hunched over, staring at his hands, antenna tense and shoulders up around his ears. That's not good. What's wrong? Is he okay? Thought it was a good day. Maybe not. It's okay. Things change, but it's okay. You're both okay. Support him. Love him. And lowering his foot to the floor, Ranboo calls softly, Hey, everything okay, Hale? The braid. What does it mean? Tubbo stammers, fingers so snarled up together they're bleeding white at the tips. And something's wrong. Ranboo can feel it simmering in the air. Drags against his nerves like granules of freezing sand. And very slowly, he straightens up. It's a symbol of my commitment to you. To show we're partners. Split-second reaction. But Tubbo relaxes, hands slackening, and in his palm, glittering in the light, is his bead. But then the rest of the words tumble out, and Tubbo flinches so hard that Ranboo stumbles over himself. Husbands. I mean, or spouses, if you prefer. I guess I never asked what you preferred. Sorry, just thought that since you used masculine Husbands? Tubbo wheezes, like someone slugged him in the gut. Like he's in pain. reeling, lost and alone and scared through the void. Fingers wrapping tight over his bead, almost as if he wants to crush it out of existence. And Ranboo doesn't understand. He doesn't know what's happening. Why is he acting like this? Like he doesn't know they're No, that's not possible. You're being insane. You are insane. He knows. He has to know. He can't not. But you can't breathe. Why can't you breathe? Calm down. Can't stop spiraling. Hands around your throat. Husbands, like he doesn't know the definition of the word. Sounds like something uses his voice to say from a million miles away. Yeah. Husbands. Like I said, unless you want to be called something else, but we're married? And Tubbo finally looks up. And Ranboo wishes he hadn't. Never wanted to see shock and terror and panic like that ever again. Alarms wailing, a Sachi rattling hard, ground rushing up towards you. Think you smell smoke. He screams your name. Last thing you see, this exact face staring back at you right now. Husbands, he asks, like he doesn't know what it means, like he doesn't know that. Yes, but you know that. You know that, right? Ranboo stammers, heart doing double time in his chest. He feels sick. He's going to throw up. This is a nightmare, right? This isn't real, right? But Tubbo just stares at him, horrified, like he didn't know. But how could he not? How could he not? And in the background, 1,000 tiny details steamroll past, and Ranboo feels like he's drowning. Doesn't know what a Cariad bead is for. Don't have one for you. You're about to cry. He isn't. Carefree attitude the whole time because he doesn't know. Staggering backwards, legs weak, can't bear his weight. Aren't. Send him collapsing to the floor. Have to keep reminding him to braid his hair. To braid yours? Lets you do it. He lets you do it. He doesn't know. Harsh crack of his knees into unrelenting plastisteel. It doesn't register. Only dark eyes do, and it's don't know much about Ender culture. Jokes about wooing you because he doesn't know. Never asked if you wanted earrings because to him you're not his husband. Nah. When did you go on? When did real? Ancients, this, you're real. This isn't real. Ranboo pleads, hands snarling in his hair desperately, eyes unfocused and dizzy. Ancients, he's so dizzy. World falling out from under him. Isn't real. Bad dream. Nightmare. Not real. Not. Can't be real. Tells you, he... No. You told me you loved me. You keep telling me you love... Not like a husband. Tubbo yelps. Weird looks he gives you sometimes when you try and flatter him. Because he doesn't understand. Because he doesn't love you. And Ranboo's going to throw up. Can't get air in his lungs. Hunches over and starts shaking as everything he's never wanted to hear echoes around him. I didn't know it meant like that. I wouldn't have. I do care for you, but like, not as a husband. But I'd be watching his dark eyes go wide in surprise. And it is. It's happening right now. Right in front of you. Oh, fuck. Oh, ancients, this can't be real. This can't be real. But you... Ranboo stutters like a dying engine. Swears black smoke should be curling out of his mouth while he stalls to death. Falling out of the sky. Falling out of reality. Slip away into the night. Eyes darting over to the rumpled bed. Thinking about every night they've fallen asleep together. How close Tubbo lays with him. The way he looks at you in the mornings. Love you so much, Starlight. The stars he sees, the universe he adores in you, and yet he doesn't. I didn't know. I don't want to be married. It's not like that. Tubbo stresses, and woodenly, Ranboo turns to stare at him. At the unsure, uncomfortable expression dragging his face down. Care for you, but not like that. You're not mine, and I'm not yours. Sorry. And Tubbo wets his lips, panic-stricken face white as bone. It's not you. I don't... Relationship. I've never... You... Oh, fuck. I'm so sorry. You're Cariad. You're one, you're only, and even he doesn't want you. Never has. Never will. You're delusional. You're insane. You've fabricated this whole thing. Father whispers in his ear, drowning out whatever Tubbo's saying, but it's better somehow. It's better hearing him than anything else right now. Oh, ancients, oh fuck, what are you supposed to do? Made the whole thing up? But isn't that what you're good at? Delusions and altered realities? Parasocial relationships? You're a monster. Ranboo wails, heartbroken, but it cuts off weird. Windpipe cinched shut, hands strangling him alive. Scrabbles at his throat, useless, trying to get them off, and you constructed your own narrative to get what you want. Can't have everything you want, Ranboo. Do you know that? Do you? He said yes at the time, but he forgot. He forgot. Selfish and terrible. Self-centered. Only think about yourself. Made the whole thing up. Forced yourself on him. And the room sways. Reality blinking in and out of existence. Can't breathe. What have you done? Books sailing off the parapets. What have you done? Claws digging into skin, too sharp, like... You're worth nothing. Nobody wants you, she screams. Throws you to the floor. Glass in your hands. Can't breathe. Cries, ragged and rough. Desperate for something, for someone, but he's alone. He's always going to be alone. Made the whole thing up. Insane, crazy mind, cracked into 2, into 10, into 1,000. Nothing right, never will be. Hands warm like sunlight, like love and laughter and a dozen things you're not allowed to have. Touch his arms. Wrap around his wrists, try to pull his hands away from his neck. But trust me, trust yourself, trust him, your Cariad. No, not your Cariad. Doesn't want you, never wanted you. And with an agonizing sob, Ranboo's gone. Drops straight through reality. Wishes he'd get caught in the in-between. No one would find him. No one would look. Comes crashing out of his jump and takes off. It's a struggle, staying upright. His legs shake. He can't see where he's going. Sometimes darts down warm gray halls patterned with posters. And other times it's fleeing through inky corridors glowing with teal lights. Crashing into things that aren't real. Crashing into things that are, but he has to get away. He has to escape this. Escape himself. Ranboo's never teleported so many times so quickly in a row. Goes skipping through reality, all in a bid for more distance. Mind splintered into a score of silvery shards. Mirror glass in his palms, shattering into a wall, red rolling down cheeks like tears. Get away from me! And he does. But no matter where he goes, eyes follow after. What's wrong with him? Didn't you hear? He's insane. Hears things. Scratches on the walls. Unhinged. Dangerous. Whispers after him, as heads swivel and fans snapping to cover faces and flicking eyes, watching, but not watching. Glint and flash in the gloom like gold, like blaster fire. Barrel pointed at his head, gonna have some fun first. And Ranboo stumbles past them all, head tucked to his chest. Wants to be alone, wants to be alone. Stop looking at me, stop it! But where does he go? Where does he go? Screaming and hurling things at the wall, but no one ever hears. No one's ever there, completely deserted. He knows where to go. He knows where to go, where no one ever is. Barefoot, not even touching the ground before he's gone. Comes tripping out several floors below, in one of the ancient, unused hangars. No one around. No eyes, no voices, alone. Alone, finally alone. You're going to be alone for the rest of your life. And Ranboo drops to his knees and screams. It echoes back to him. Echoes inside him. 100 grating, delirious wails from the things that live in the gutters. That come scuttling free. Told you. Told you you'd end up back here. End up alone. End up with us. And he shakes his head frantically. Claws shaky and running threatening lines over his arms. So lightheaded he can't think. Is there air in here? He doesn't know. Doesn't matter. Getting choked off anyway. Care for you, but not like that. Is there gravity? He can't tell. Everything swims. Feet floating up from the floor, tumbling down through the air, falling or flying. Want to find out. No way out. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to run. He's trapped. He's trapped, and he's alone, and he's scared. Where does he go? Where does he go? Where? You know where to go. A silken voice croons. Frozen hands sliding around the sides of his throat. Fingers feathering out under his jaw, just like a blaster could. There's one on your hip. You were allowed to keep it this time. What good fortune. But I think I know what you want. And those hands tip his head up so Ranboo's staring straight ahead at where space gapes at him like a giant, yawning maw. No way back. Only way forwards, she urges, in a tone like scales gliding over sand. Claws scratching languorously at skin. Scrape of fangs against his ankle. No warning before they sink in. Spread poison that eats his flesh. He shudders. She laughs, rocks their heads together and sighs low. You know what you have to do. Always known. Now do it right this time. But he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. There's people now. He can't leave them. But as soon as he thinks it, Resha howls with laughter, wraps around him like the wind up on the parapets, freezing fingers in his hair, tugs him forward violently. Have you learned nothing? No one's there. No one's ever been there. Nobody's coming for you, not after what you've done. I haven't done anything. Ranboo pleads miserably. Flinches when Resha hums. Oh, that's not true. You know it's not. You forced this relationship onto him for months. How do you think that looks to others? His breath hitches painfully. You're Ender. He's Mellifera. How do you think that looks? Do you really think they're going to side with you? Feels like something cold and tacky is dripping down his front, out of his ribs. And Ranboo presses shaking hands to his chest, looking for the hole. They're going to think you pressured him, that you took advantage of him. Resha hisses, eyes flashing in the gloom, hands on his back, urging him forwards. Blaster in his face. I said get up. And he sits up on his knees, legs shaking already, eyes trained straight ahead, black swirl of nothing beckoning him. Wind in your hair, icy fingers down your face. Come home. Know where you belong. Come home. Ranboo gets to his feet, frozen with indecision. Don't do this. Don't do this. Please remember what I told you. Don't hate yourself. Don't waste your life on this. But her soft calls are drowned out by a maddening chorus of abuser, enslaver, entitled, selfish brat. Think you can have everything you want? Think you can have him? Don't deserve him. Don't deserve anything. No, that's not quite right. You know what you deserve. Resha giggles over his shoulder. Come on, brother. It's just one foot in front of the other. And that's easy. He can do that. Knows how to walk. Staggers forward, one step at a time. It's like the void of space spills into the deserted hangar, oozes over the lip of the force field and reaches for him desperately. 1,000 inky hands flailing and waving for him, ready to welcome him home, into their embrace, ready to welcome him home. Home. He thought he knew where that was. But when he thinks about it, Ranboo realizes he's never had a home. Not really. Where he was born never wanted him. Where he wished he'd been born isn't his to have. The place he lives now like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. He doesn't belong anywhere. He doesn't fit. Not true. Know where you belong. Know where you go. Right over the edge. His feet slow to a stop at the ominous red emergency line. Caution, it says, like it matters, like he cares. No way back, only way forwards. eyes trained on it, unseeing and hollow. No hesitation. Slipped right over the side one day, still think about doing it. Watch his toes flex a little over the line, scuffed toe of his boot following. One step at a time, one foot in front of the other, know how to walk, know what to do, where you belong. Everything dark and desiccated in his mind howls with breathless, frantic joy, skeletal hands pawing at him, each thud of a palm nudging him forwards just that little more. Don't fight it. Give in. What's the use of keeping something like you around? No one wants you. No one wants a sad, broken thing. So many parts missing, so many things damaged. Never going to be right. Never going to be normal. No way to fix this. Ranboo stops. Everything cuts out for a minute. No more grating, screaming echoes, no more sisters that want him dead. He can breathe, he can think. He knows how to fix things. Ringing silence in his ears, and his own too loud breathing. He slowly looks down at his feet, one completely over the line, one part way. There's just one more step, but which way to go? Know what you want, know what you need, know what to do. And he takes a step backwards. And then another, and another. Ranboo works his way back on shaking feet, stumbles a few times, but he catches himself before he can fall. Comes to a stop, a safe distance from the open bay, and sucks in a deep breath that feels like it finally reaches his lungs. Is glad it reaches his lungs. You're a failure. Can't even do this right. Can't even do this one thing. Resha hisses, disappointed over his shoulder. And it makes his heart jump. But Ranboo winds his arms around his chest, feels his pulse thud under his palm, and the way his rib cage expands with each breath. Finds solace in that as he croaks. Maybe. But I can't change that if I'm dead. You can't change anything. Can't change what you are. It's written under your bones, in your DNA. You can't fix that. You can't fix something so irrevocably broken it's unsalvageable, unsavable. But she's wrong. That's not true. It's gentle smiles and puffy ponytails, gummy candy held out to you, a soldering iron next. Nothing is ever really broken beyond repair. You just have to be willing to put in the effort. You just have to be willing to try. I know how to fix things. Ranboo murmurs softly, sees Puffy smile at him, hears Resha snarl at him. You're wrong. You're wrong. Can't fix anything. Only one thing to do. One way. Forwards. Want to fix it so bad? Then do what you know you have to do. Take that step. Drop over the... That's not fixing anything. That's just throwing it away. Ranboo brings one of his hands up and twists it, flexes his fingers, watches the way his tendons work, bones moving smoothly under skin, as speckled and patterned as the swirling arm of a galaxy. Stardust in another form, eternity at your core. Stretches his fingers out and feels a little jump in his chest. That's just giving up. It's not giving it new life. A second chance. You don't deserve a second chance. You're horrible, terrible. Forced him into a relationship he didn't want. Manipulated him. You don't deserve life. You don't deserve to live. You're a monster. She hisses over his shoulder. And she's always behind him. Never faces him. The demon at his back. But Ranboo sets his jaw, turns around to face her head on. Resha is little more than a flickering outline, a blurry, distorted reflection. Skitters to the side like she's trying to hide, trying to get away from him, get at his back. Coward. She's the coward, always hiding in your shadow. And he twists to follow her, calling, I messed up. I'm not a great person. I'm selfish and ethnocentric. I just assumed that he... And it was wrong. I shouldn't have... Ranboo sighs hard, pain flaring up from his chest like the sharp, stinging bite of chemical burns, like corrosive acid eating through his bones. What did you do? What have you done? Violated what you two had on so many levels. Never going to be the same. Scars fade, but they don't disappear. Squeezes his eyes closed as his lungs hitch with a painful inhale. I'm a bad person. A flawed being. He might never speak to me again, but that doesn't mean I deserve to die. Yes, it does. You're a monster. Resha fires back, but it's a hand cracking into his face, half-lucid eyes burning holes into his head, nasty smiles and sharp words. Never been nice, never been kind. You've never mattered. Get out of my way, little brother. You care for her. Why has she always hated you? And Ranboo snaps his eyes open, shoulders leveling out as he barks. Oh yeah? If I'm a monster, what does that make you? Whatever Resha is, gutters like a flame, like a little shadow on the wall. Nothing there, never mattered, never will. Gaping hole of her mouth yawning open, and there's nothing inside. He's not sure there ever has been. Hollowed out shell of a thing, all the lights off. A devil, a monster, the one under your bed, the one in your head, never been a sister. You've never been nice to me. Never. Ranboo snaps, keeping her pinned in place with his eyes. Sees the way her form curls and spits at the edges. Last sputtering flames of a dying fire. Black smoke pouring into the air, wheezing to a standstill. About time. I cared for you, and all you did was hurt me. I didn't deserve any of that. I tried to be a good brother. I didn't know what I ever did wrong. Ranboo trails off, stares at the horrible, flickering wraith of what's supposed to be a person. A nightmare, a shadow, a demon. Why have you ever listened to this thing? Why have you ever trusted someone that hates you so deeply and shallowly? Has something of an epiphany. I didn't. I never did anything wrong. It was never my fault. It was yours. You're the terrible person. You're the monster. We're one and the same, little brother. Same poisoned blood in our veins. Same void in our eyes. Deceased fruit doesn't fall far. She cackles. Warped canyon of her mouth splitting wide up her face. Eyes the lurid, swirling color of madness and hatred. You can't escape yourself, who you are at your core. Generational curse, black mark on the ledger of existence. Grew up to be me. Grew up to be just like us. I am nothing like you. I'm not an abuser. I never will be. Ranboo spits, heart thundering wildly under his ribs, adrenaline spiking in his veins, thrumming under his skin like engines singing around him, ready to send him streaking forwards. Away from all of this, finally. I know who I am, and it's not a part of this fucking family. Drawing himself up to his full height, Ranboo throws his shoulders back and cocks his chin, glaring down at the nasty little smudge guttering pathetically in front of him. You are nothing. You will never be anything. I made you, and I can unmake you. I've let myself forget that for far too long, that I'm the one in control here. And I think it's time you fucked off. Resha rears back, splintering form dispersing like smoke in the air, like mist burning away in the heat of the day. And Ranboo takes a step forwards, plants his feet, life humming through him, engines at warp launching him forwards, away from all this, leave it in his star trails. Watches her dissolve with a cocked chin. Scuttle away, little shadow. I've never wanted you. Nobody's ever wanted you. Go ahead and disappear into the night. No one will mourn you. And with one last crackling hiss, she's gone. Last thing he sees, those poisonous snake eyes fading out of existence. Murmurs to the empty air, I know I won't. 1 second, he feels like he can do anything. And then the next, it's like an entire building drops on his shoulders. And Ranboo's knees buckle, sending him sprawling backwards onto the hangar floor, panting for breath. His heart is still beating like mad, leftover adrenaline rattling through his body. Might even be anxiety when Ranboo stops and actually thinks about what just happened. He almost threw himself out into space. Didn't. He didn't. And that's the most important thing. Second important thing being he doesn't want to try again. But if he's staying, if he's living, that means acknowledging that they're not, that he's not married. Tubbo's not his Cariad, doesn't care for him in that way. These last, ancients of the fucking cursed deep 4 months have been one egregious, fatal, cultural misunderstanding. And he kinda really wants to throw up. Fuck! Ranboo wails, collapses so he's lying flat on his back. And it's a little less lightheaded like this, but he still feels like he's spinning out of control. Bombarded with months of memories that rip him to pieces inside. Squeezes his eyes shut and just screams. It's guttural. Tears his throat to shreds, filled with every horribly desperate, sad, lonely thing that's clawed its way to the surface. And there's no reprieve. There's never going to be a reprieve. Because it's over. It had never actually begun in the first place. And now Ranboo's going to be tormented the rest of his life knowing his Cariad, his one, his only, his other half, doesn't care for him in that way. He cries like a lost child, all pathetic whimpering noises and big gusts of air. Feels like his chest has been cleaved open. Presses shaking hands into his sternum and worries about finding the point of ribs sticking through. What the actual fuck is he supposed to do? Seriously. Because if he's decided to live, and he has, he really has, life fucking hurts and it sucks, but it's worth it. It's so worth it to see the stars and laugh and put broken things back together. Then Ranboo's got to figure out some way to move forwards. Tubbo probably hates him. Or at the very least is beyond furious, which is entirely fair. There's not many instances where Ranboo would sit down and willingly let Tubbo scream at him, but this is one of those times. Claps shaking palms over his face and groans miserably. Ancients. How the fuck did this even happen? But it's a dumb question. And dragging his claws down his face, pulling at his lower eyelids, Ranboo knows how. It was his own stupid, entitled, ethnocentric ass that just assumed Tubbo would know. That, oh, it's common knowledge, right? Everyone knows about me and my people and my customs because we're so fucking important. And not, maybe I should double check we're on the same page since we're from completely different fucking planets. Fucking ancients of the deep void below. He's an idiot. He is actually a moron, and he'd gladly let Tubbo fire him out of a photon cannon into the nearest sun if it had fixed things. But it won't. Ranboo drops his hands off his face, stares hollow up at the hangar's ceiling, chest jumping, quick and erratic under his palms. Despairs because there is nothing that matters more to Tubbo than openness and honesty. The ability to trust the people he's close to know he's not being manipulated. And Ranboo's unintentionally broken all of that. It was an accident. But Tubbo's not going to see the rationality of that. He'll be hurt, betrayed, scared that his mind's not his own. That Ranboo wormed in through the cracks and resorted things to his liking. And it's not true. Ranboo's just an unthinking asshole. He didn't mean to manipulate him. He didn't mean to trick him. Accident, honest, idiotic mistake. But that trust they have had is already destroyed so thoroughly. His throat bobs painfully, thinking about how their friendship, what they have had, could already be over. Wrecked to the point that Ranboo can't even fix. Doesn't even know where to begin. Staring at the dented, smashed, blackened hole she'll never fly again. Claws tapping nervously into his collarbones. Apologize as many times as it takes. But how do you get past this? How do you get around knowing your friend wanted to be life partners, still does, and you don't? Awkward, uncomfortable silences that stretch and grow, pushing you two apart. Different rooms, different ships, different people at your side. Ranboo whines loudly. Anxiety ticking up higher and higher. Feels like he's going to explode with the pressures compounding under his skin. All the words and battle plans and fears and horrible, painful, sunlit memories crowding his mind. It's too much. He needs it to stop. But he can never turn his stupid brain off. It'll just keep spiraling and winding him up unless he's unconscious, but he's not going to be able to sleep, so... Alcohol. He needs alcohol, and a lot of it. Flaps around uselessly at his pockets until he fumbles his handheld free. Groaning and wailing, seeing how many notifications he has from Hailwyn. Ancients. Fuck me for ever putting that fucking nickname. Void cursed idiot moron. Slaps a hand over his eyes and taps around until he gets to the message chain he's looking for. Ozzy, 2103. Please, for the love of the fucking ancients, tell me you're at base. Hey, Ranboo. I see you're living dangerous tonight, no punctuations. What's up, want to play some Solidum or something? No, I need to get drunker than I've ever been, and I need you to babysit me. 2107. You sure that's a good idea? Like, I know you're an adult and all, but just... You okay? If you need to talk about things, I'm here. Ozzy, I just found out that while I thought Tubbo and I have been married for the last 4 months, we were not, in fact, on the same page. So yes, I need to get drunk. 2114. What? Holy fuck. Yeah, okay, you want Medulus or Vespetir? Both. Aye. Thank you. Ranboo wheezes, tapping the edge of his handheld into his forehead. Jolts when the thing starts vibrating, and only barely manages not to hurl it across the hangar seeing Tubbo's contact pop up. He's never hit decline so fast before. Fingers shaking and coming horribly close to hitting accept on accident. But it just starts vibrating again almost immediately. The picture Ranboo saved as his contact image is like a physical assault. Tubbo, with messy hair in his eyes, grinning at the camera as he flips it off with a few hands, so reminiscent of that one birthday photo. Love him so much. And he doesn't love you. And it makes sobs bubble up his throat. His handheld slips out of slack fingers, hits his chest and bounces off, rattles around the floor, and Ranboo ignores it until it falls silent, biting his lip hard to stop from having a full-on breakdown. Once the call goes to voicemail, Ranboo is quick scooping it up. Can't, won't, isn't going to open Tubbo's message chain. 56 missed messages and growing. Thumbs instead to something a little safer. Tommy Innit, 2043. Hey, look, I don't know you, and you don't really know me, but it's gonna be okay, man. He's not mad or anything. Don't do anything dumb. 2057. Fucking hell, I know you're probably going through shit, like, fucking hell. But message him if you can. He's freaking the fuck out. Like, bad. Or message me or one of your friends. Just let him know you're okay. 21:20. I'm safe. I'm going to a friend's. I don't want to talk to him right now. Yeah, sure, no problem. Glad you're safe. You're a good guy, Ranboo. It's gonna be okay. Ranboo's not really sure about that one. But his handheld stops vibrating like a possessed thing, and he leverages his body up off the hangar floor. Everything hurts. Feels like there's lead in his veins. Neutron stars at the marrow of his bones make getting to his feet arduous and painful. Head reeling as soon as he's vertical. But he's standing. He's standing, and he's alive, and Ozzy is waiting for him with hopefully a questionable amount of alcohol. It's something of a blur getting up to Ozzy and Monto's dorm. Ranboo ducks down into the collar of his bomber and shakes his hair into his face. Only watches his feet in the fear that someone's going to try and talk to him. Knows that if someone so much as looks at him kindly, he's going to break down sobbing. Of course, his mind then starts running scenarios for if he runs into Tubbo. Color high on his face. Brows drawn low. How could you? How could you? He hates you. You love him. He's never going to love you. Should have left you. He should have left you. His composure is starting to slip away. And Ranboo quickens his pace. Feels like he's barely managing to contain a raging flood in his hall of doorways. Black ooze seeping out from 1,000 places, puddling at his feet, threatening to swallow him whole. Take him under, good riddance. Cannot wait to forget about every stupid way his mind works. Thankfully, he makes it unbothered. Only knocks once before the door is swishing open. Ozzy, standing there in some fuzzy onesie thing, holds their arms out questioningly. But Ranboo shuffles past, spots the 2 bottles on a nightstand and grabs the fullest one. Do you want to talk? Floats out softly behind him, and Ranboo snorts. Can't get the cork free with his claws, so he yanks it out with his fangs. Takes a generous swig. Hot slide of anise and other cloying things noxious in the way licorice is. Just like that birthday cake. Flushed face laughing, eyes trying to woo my partner. Shut up! Runs his tongue over his fangs, and takes another deep drink. Hey, you doing okay there, Kostka? Ozzy asks, unsure and worried. Warranted. Probably look completely deranged right now. Wrecked, destroyed, on the verge of collapse. And you are. Worlds crumbled out from under your feet. And Ranboo looks over his shoulder. Voice a croaking mess when he says, No, not even slightly. But I'm not going to fling myself into open space, so that's something. It sure is. Not being in open space is an admirable trait, Ozzy says, slowly. Shadows jumping and waving like the way their finger bones interlock. And it looks like they want to say more, to ask how and when and where and why. But Ranboo stops any of that. Ground rules. 1, I don't want to talk about it. 2, keep me from doing anything stupid like calling him. 3, I'm getting blackout drunk. Make sure I don't die, got it? Ozzy hesitates, which in any other instance would be a good thing. Ranboo's aware he probably looks a little unhinged right now. But if he has to spend one more second being aware of the fact that every I love you spoken between them wasn't what he thought it was, he's going to explode. But eventually, Ozzy caves, sighing as they bring a hand up, flicking him a lazy salute. Aye aye, Captain. It starts off something like this. Ranboo sits in a corner, too aware of everything, and stews and makes short work of the medulus. But once that's gone, so is his grasp of rationale. And he starts pacing back and forth on tottering feet, lecturing a wide-eyed Ozzy with the massive amounts of bullshit his life has descended into. Somewhere in between the bottle of medulus and half of what's left of the vesperture, Ranboo has decided he's angry. That none of this is his fault. Oh no, how could it be? Have you ever even spoken to Tubbo? Met him? How could you not wish he was your Cariad? Stupid fucker, too smart for his own good. Too kind, too noble. Universe in his smile, eyes like the night, hand outstretched to you, come with me, and it's like, it's all his fault in the first place. Like, fucking stupid dimples and being nice and shit. Sunshine-ass looking motherfucker. Ranboo articulates very clearly, grumpily snuggling the bottle of Vespertire to his chest, glares at nothing in particular, and gripes. Shithead. Fucking hate him. Hey, did you know, he's a bitch. Fucking little bitch-ass b-boy. Ranboo swings an arm out to illustrate the grand, sweeping point he's just made, but stumbles back a bit suddenly, unbalanced, grip locking up over the bottle under his arm. Hey, look, when did that get there? Lifts it and mutters sulkily around the mouth of it. Fucking hate him. Little shit. Hate him. Fucking hate him. No, I love him, but he doesn't love me. His voice cracks weird, and whoa, that's bad. Because now he's thinking about Tubbo and how Tubbo doesn't love him. Not like a Cariad, not like a husband. And what's wrong with him? Is he a bad husband? Was he a bad husband? What's wrong with him? Why can't he be loved? He loves him so much. It's not fair. It's not. I just want Tubbo to love me. I want my Cariad. I want my husband. I don't want to be alone again. I want... Hey, Ran. Kostka, it's okay. Departed ones, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Someone's telling him. Hands wrapping around his upper arms, and it's not the same. It's not who he wants, who he can't have. But Ranboo breaks down, sobbing anyway. This is bad. This is really bad. He can't breathe. Feels like he's being strangled alive, and he knows what that feels like. It's okay. It's okay. He's dead. He can't hurt you anymore. But those hands, that grin, scared songbird, live in his mind, and they're oozing out, clawing up his legs viciously. Breathe in, 1, 2. Out, 1, 2. Breathe in, 1, 2. Out, 1, 2. But it doesn't work. Nothing seems to work in the moment. Not even his body. And Ranboo goes pitching to the side. Doesn't see a point in being vertical anymore. And cold, cold hands gently pry at the bottle he's clutching to his front like an infant. All right, okay. I think you've had enough. I think it's time to... Why doesn't he love me? Ranboo wails, collapses in a miserable heap on the floor. Feels the bottle slip out of his arms and bawls like a child because it's leaving him too. Doesn't even want him either. No one does. Why am I so unlovable? You're not unlovable, Kostka. You are starshine. You burn so bright. But Ranboo just shakes his head avidly. No, I'm not. Chin trembling with how hard he's crying. Chest hitching painfully on every inhale. Corrosive hot pain flaring out along his spine. Curling over his sides and burning under his ribs. Right where his heart is beating. Right where it's breaking into 100 pieces. Everything just seems to hit him all at once. And it's the reality that this was it. That there's no more hand-holding or snuggling. No more soft endearments and loving touches. No more eyes that look at him like he's hung the stars in the sky. Never looked at you like that anyway. Made the whole thing up. Fabricated it all. How he saw you, how tenderly he spoke. None of it was real. Placebo effect, all a delusion. Whimpering pathetically loud, Ranboo cries like the world is ending, which it kinda is in a way. Everything ripped out from under him and he's back at square one, hopelessly in love with someone that's never going to love him back. There's a slight rustling sound, and then a tingly hand is patting at his face. Gets Ranboo to crack a bleary eye open. Squints in confusion at the hazy blob of colors and flashing orange eyes that tell him, I don't have any water you can drink. I am going to get you a water. Just 2 seconds. Be okay for 2 seconds, okay? Don't move. Ranboo makes some whiny noise of agreement. Doesn't want to get up anyway. And the blurry rainbow thing is gone, leaving him to his little pity party for one. Woo. He slurs, rocking his head to the side, because that's what you do at parties, right? You cheer things and cluster close, sing happy birthday, snarky grin, cocked hip trying to woo you. Sniffling harsh, with the way snot runs down the back of his throat, sees something light up in the gloom, slaps a hand around for it. Whatever it is a lot further away than he thought, and Ranboo rolls over, finally bangs his fingers into the slick surface, claws scrabbling against glass and smooth plastic as he hauls it closer. He groans when it finally registers that's his handheld, squints at all the notifications on his screen. So many missed calls, so many missed messages, all from bright, happy laughter, head bobbing along in time to a song, dark velvet of the night in his eyes, cheeks pinched in a grin, dimples in the corners, messy hair, flash of your bead, graceful shape of his wings. Love you more than anything, a sun in mortal form. Your sun, your sunshine, your care. Ranboo's unlocking his handheld with shaking hands, screen jerking around in time to his hiccuping cries. Taps on the giant chain of unread messages and doesn't even make it to the first one. Eyes going hazy seeing that stupid nickname and those fucking hearts at the top of the contact screen. Hits edit without another thought. It takes him a few tries, but he gets it. Taps save and is exhausted by the end of it. Mind starting to gray out to the edges, thinks he might go cry himself to sleep. Hasn't done that in a while. Not since he was small and alone. Hey, only difference now, he's big and alone. That's funny. Types out a very organized and concise message before he passes out. Tubbo. 2056. 52 plus unread messages. Fuck, please be okay. All I want is for you to be okay. Don't care if you never speak to me again, just be okay. 127. I'm sorry and stuff, but I don't know. You're the only one for me, honest. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I know now you don't love me, and that's okay. Made the whole thing up. I'm sorry. So sorry, Bo. Didn't mean it. Sorry for it. Yeah. Just please don't stop being my friend. Please, I need you. Sorry, I'm drunk. Not need you like a husband, sorry. I'ma go to bed. Forgive me. After much fumbling, Ranboo somehow manages to get his handheld turned off and flings it away from him. Arm falling limp to the floor, and he turns his head to stare at it listlessly. Something digging into his cheek uncomfortably. He only picks his head up enough to poke around curiously, finger freezing when it dances over the shape of his bead. Can I braid your hair? Never thought you were going to get to do this. Do you think it's long enough? You're about to cry. He's not. Feels like he swallows his tongue whole, trying to clear his throat. So nervous to ask him. Sat there in breathless joy. Never thought you'd get to do this. And slowly, painfully, he works the bead loose. How many times he practiced until he could do it right. How good he got near the end, like he'd done it his whole life. Would do it his whole life. But that's not true. It's not going to be like that. It was never going to be like that. I love you, murmured afterwards, like a promise, but it's not. It's hollow, lights off inside, because he doesn't mean what you mean. And Ranboo starts undoing his braid.